Well, hello there, and welcome to another tour of Architect Homes. I am Melissa, and I am your tour guide. So, let's get started. This first home, it is dark, but I can't help that, but you're still able to see. The layout is okay. It's a very simple home, and there's a mixture of older and newer items. But for inventory, I would rate this a 1, but then again, it depends on what you have in your inventory. But I do like that this home kind of makes sense. But I just do not understand why there is an oyster platter in the closet. Who would put food in the closet, especially fish? But okay. And here is our next home. This home is a repeat. I'm pretty sure of it. I think we've had it before. But again, I had filmed this when it was dark and I can't turn any lights on, but you're still able to see. Now, for this home, the layout was okay. And for inventory, I would probably rate this a 2, but then again, it always depends on your game and what you have in your inventory. Of course, there are some empty rooms. I don't understand why the game has the empty rooms. That just makes no sense to me, but okay. So for inventory, a 2, and for the layout, I would probably say a 2. And for our next home, we have this right here. This has a lot of windows and a rooftop hot tub, which I find quite interesting. And again, there is a mixture of older items along with the newer items. But for inventory, I would say a 2, but it depends on what you have in your inventory. I'm not sure about the layout of this home because to me, I don't know. It's too small, but that's just me. The layout is okay. I would say that that's a 2. And next up on our fine tour of Architect Homes is this home right here. And it is another smaller home. But I have to say that the house makes sense. And there is a mixture of older items along with the newer items. And as well, I would say that inventory is a 2. But again, it depends on your game. And for the layout, I would say a 2. My first thought on this home was, what the hell is this? But for inventory, I can already tell you that it's a 4, but it depends on what you have in your game. Now, I do not like the indoor pool. I think it's too much, and this home is just weird. And it's very, very, very busy. But if that's your style, then go for it. It's not mine. But I do not like the layout of the house. I think it's just too much. But I love the Christmas tree because I'm a big fan. And so here's the upstairs of the home. Again, there's a bar inside and there's a very confusing way to use the bathroom. And there's just a lot happening in this house. It kind of makes me anxious, but that's just me. But again, for inventory, I would say a 4. And for the layout, I would say a 1. Next up on our fine tour of Architect Homes is this right here. This beauty is an interesting shaped home, but it's very empty. And I just don't get that, but okay. The rooms make no sense, probably because it's empty. And there's a basement here, but this home can actually be turned into a very, very nice home. For layout, I would say a 4. And for inventory, I would say a 2. Next up on our fine tour of Architect Homes is this right here. This house confused the hell out of me. But maybe that's because of all the windows, I don't know. It's very busy, but I would have to say that the rooms kind of make sense, and this home can be turned into a nice home. Maybe this is the home that I will assign to Sims Freeplay Architects, but I just don't know yet. But for inventory, I would rate this maybe a 2, but it depends on what you have in your game. And for the layout, maybe a 2. I just don't get the indoor plants inside. Next up on our fine tour of architect homes is this right here. I'm guessing that this is a temple, but I don't know. There are a hell of a lot of lights, but I think it looks kind of neat, but I don't like the layout because I find it rather confusing. I would say that this is not a family home, but rather I would probably say that this is a monastery of sorts, but I could be wrong. I don't know. But I think it looks kind of cool if it is that. For inventory and for the layout, I would say that this is a 2. Next up on our fine tour of architect homes is this one right here. I wasn't sure what this was, if it was a mansion or something. I have no idea. But I think that the outside looks okay. It looks kind of cool. It looks like a house that I would see on the beach. But for inventory already, I would say that it's probably a 3, but it depends on what you have in your game. But for the layout, it kind of makes sense. I think that this can be turned into a nice home with some, if you work around things. But yes, for layout, probably a 2 or a 3. I wasn't sure. I'm not a big fan of all the balconies and the stairs outside, but that's just me. And again, there's just a lot happening in this home. Next up on our fine tour of architect homes is this house right here. I can already tell you I'm not a big fan. There's a lot going on, but I do have to say that the shape of it is very interesting. So on that aspect, on the shape alone, I would say a 5 because it looks interesting on the outside, but there's a lot of space that's empty in the hallways, I guess that they are, I don't know. And then there's a pool, as you can see. But the rooms, to me, they're not making a lot of sense. But again, that's just me. And so for the layout, I would probably say a 2. And for inventory, a 3. Up next on our fine tour of architect homes is this home right here. For the shape of it, I would say that it's a 5 because it looks interesting on the outside. But once you get into it, I wasn't sure if this was a mansion, but I do like the garden. I think that looks pretty cool, but I like fountains. But for the layout, it's not really making a lot of sense to me, but that's just me. I'm just not understanding this. And again, maybe I'm blind. But when you go upstairs, I do like that garden. But it's a patio, it's not inside the house. And when you go upstairs, there's some bedrooms. And it's not making sense to me. There's just a lot of space that can be used better. But I'm not a big fan. That's just me. But for inventory, I would say maybe a 2 or 3. And then on the layout part, I would say a 2. Next up on our fine tour of architect homes is this right here. I don't know what to say. I just don't. The outside, the shape of it is quite interesting. But when you. I had a hard time because I couldn't find the entrance, but I don't know. I wasn't sure what this was. I don't know what it is. But there's an outside area for animals, it looks like, and there's a hell of a lot of plants. And then in the kitchen, it's okay. And then a living room, a pool, and a lot of bathrooms. I don't know if this is a public place with animals. I have no idea. But then there's a bedroom and a huge ass closet. I just don't know what to think. I really don't. But you go upstairs, there's a lot of balconies, and there's some more bedrooms, and again, a hell of a lot of plants. This house is plant overload. For inventory, I would probably rate this a 3, but it depends on what you have in your game, or a 4 maybe. And then for layout, yeah, there's just not even a number. Maybe a 2, and that's being nice. But that's just me. I mean, there are some people who like these homes, and that's just fine. But all of this is just in good fun, and it is my opinion. But for me, I think it's just way too much. Here's another kitchen up here, which this really... And that is it on our fine tour of architect homes. I hope y'all enjoyed, and please do remember that all of this is just in good fun.